Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello, Dan.
Announce Aidan McGeady.
McGeady's on his way. If he comes, I'll eat all the hats.
Okay.
I'll go down in the club shop, right? And they've got like 4 different kinds of bobble hat. I'll buy each one and eat them all.
Okay.
Aidan McGeady.
Get your knife and forks out.
No chance.
He's got
That's
it.
the latest rumour, fans.
Yeah.
City fans, that's the latest rumour. Aidan McGeady, Republic of Ireland international, former Premier League player, until like 3 years ago.
£10 million player, actually, to wherever he went, Spartak Moscow.
Did he?
Yeah, from Celtic.
Oh, yeah.
And on his way to SJP.
It would buck the trend.
No chance.
If that happens,
It's not going to happen.
I mean, what advert would it take for on Taggy's revolving or electronic board to get that deal through?
Oh, wow. Something big.
Like, I tell you what it would be, the Masons.
They could chip in.
Masons and
Come on, lads, chip in for Aidan.
the Illuminati. You know, we'd just start having like weird triangles with eyes in,
Yeah.
just advertised on the advertising board.
Cool.
Excellent. I look forward to that. In other news, City won 2-0, home to Cambridge to keep us very firmly, not just in the promotion chase, but in the championship chase.
Yeah.
It's a good win.
It was a good win, wasn't it, in the end?
In the end, it was a diabolical first half. And I don't really mean that in terms of playing, although the playing wasn't good, but it was incessantly poor game of football first half, wasn't it?
Oh, it was really bad.
I couldn't work out what was happening. I mean, I could. No one was playing well. But the referee was dreadful.
Yeah.
He'd had enough. He couldn't even bear to get it at half time. He just walked off.
He disappeared, didn't he?
I'm not even lying,
Injured.
listeners. He just walked off.
Or injured, apparently.
Well, he ran off. Like,
No, he didn't. He walked.
did he?
He walked, but he wasn't limping. But
Mate-
who knows? Maybe he was ill. Maybe...
It was a lung injury.
Who knows? But he went
He went.
just before half time.
I felt like going.
Honestly, I was just like, oh, just call it half time. Let's just have a half time now.
We had to have 9 minutes of referee injury time.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
It was dire, wasn't it? I don't think there was a single shot on target from anyone pre-ref going off. And then Lee Martin had a chance on goal just before half-time. Ball bobbled in, not bobbled, was put in front of him. Jake Taylor did something really good in centre mid. Laid off to the wing. Cross came in. Martin was through on goal. Keeper to beat. He took quite a long time.
That's Lee Martin's second chance you're talking about.
Oh, what are you talking
His
about?
No, what you're talking about
Oh,
is
yeah.
his first chance where Taylor picks it up, puts him through to the right-hand side, and he shoots from a kind of wide angle on the right.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he had
And
two.
then,
yes.
just before half-time, he had that chance where he's played through. For me, he could have hit it a bit earlier.
That's what I'm talking about.
He
yeah.
didn't. The keeper kind of, like... It was a decent chance still, but the keeper kind of came out and made it difficult.
Yes.
So we go in 0-0.
So they went in. The ref was already there in his jacuzzi. I think the fourth official had to do it, whatever.
Yeah, it was the fourth official.
Isn't it weird?
Leaving the fourth official duties to some bloke in a beanie.
Yeah, I don't know who he was. If you know who he was, listeners, tell us. And
He did well. It took him a little while on some of the subs to get the digital board thing.
I felt bad for him. I could just
sorted,
feel his
under pressure.
red face.
Yeah, you know when the pressure's on and you're like
4,000 people
trying to
are
like
looking at you.
figure out this like weird little. I mean, I don't know how those things work, but
It's
probably-
not obviously. He's not been trained in that.
well, maybe not. Maybe who knows? So anyway, yeah, half time comes.
Came like everyone was delighted. One guy told me that he'd. This was in the queue for the drinks. Told me he'd come down for the drink before the ref had got injured, so at about 42 minutes. He then consumed 4 bottles of beer in half time. He looked like he was having a better time than the rest of us, to be honest.
Yeah,
So that happened. Here's my favourite thing that happened, though, aside from the football. It was, as you know, listeners, in the month of January, some people are encouraged to be vegan. Yes, they come up with a catchy slogan of veganuary
yeah,
or veganuary. I don't know how you're supposed to say it.
yeah. That's happening.
So City got involved in this by offering us soya milk for our halftime cups of tea. Now, you and I, Dan, are familiar with soya milk, almond milk, etc.
I'm familiar, although I don't care for them.
You don't care for them. I'm quite happy to partake of them.
I mean, whatever. It's better than nothing. But I think for a cup of tea, you know.
I think almond's fine, listeners. If you're gonna,
It's fine. I'm not saying it's not fine. I'm just saying like it's not the best option, taste wise, is dairy milk. And if you say anything else, not a Cadbury's dairy milk, just
one of them
dairy
floating
milk in your tea. And if you know, taste wise, I'm not talking about anything else. Taste wise, and that you can't beat that. And if you say otherwise, you're wrong.
Listeners, I'd also add this in. There's a lot of backlash against vegans for almond milk being bad for the planet. That's true. It seems to be from the reports I've read. You can have a black tea. I like a black tea. Anyway, they put a soya milk out on the bar. A man went to take soya milk of his own volition, and there was a screamed warning from the back of the catering area, like this: "That's soya milk, watch out!" Honestly, that's what happened. The man was like, looked bemused. I was like, sorry? It came again. Soya! Just like that.
Well, what happens there is if you drink soy milk for the first time, just instantly all your clothes just turn into suddenly you look down your shoes and they've turned into sort of brown sort of moccasins, and then suddenly you're wearing this kind of multi-coloured kind of like weird loose top, and then you've got a big beard, and
right,
that's what happens.
Well, anyway, he wasn't worried because he then replied, "Oh, it's fine. I drink soy milk all the time." But then the woman went into a long diatribe about some other catering hut somewhere else in the ground. Mysteriously, people were putting soy milk into their drinks and were then, to use her words, disgusted. And the guy was like, no, it's fine. I like it. And she was like, no, they've been disgusted. And he was like, no, it's fine. I have soy milk all the time. And she went like this, looked right square in his eyes and went, disgusted. And he was like, whatever, and just went off with his cup of tea.
I mean, quite. I think
he was delighted.
All right, I think we should move on, but I just want to say, I mean, who cares? Who cares? Don't worry about it.
Well, some people really care. I think it's good that we've got different kinds of milk. Anyway, that happened. That amused me greatly, particularly the screamed warning.
Yeah, so all these things are basically because the first half was so bad. That's just sort of
we just only had that to focus on.
Worth mentioning. So, but it improved, didn't it?
Second half improved massively. City came out with renewed purpose.
Yeah, Taylor said afterwards that it was like he was sort of saying, "We need to get back to like battling and like not trying to play good, like pretty football or whatever." And it seemed like the opposite to me. It looked like we'd stopped booting it, got it back on the ground, got the ball into our kind of players who can play a bit, and it seemed to like sort of, you know, the rest sort of did it for itself. Like
I think, yeah, he did say that. I think what was going on there was he was trying to deflect attention, so he took all the blame, didn't he? He said,
yeah,
it was my fault. I think. I don't think it mattered. I don't think anyone cared from then on. I think they played really well in the second half. He'd just gone in with like, I don't want the players to be blamed.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I don't think they would have done, like, particularly. It's not like a wall. It wasn't, I mean, we were playing almost as badly as in that Walsall first half, weren't we? But obviously didn't concede 3 goals.
I mean, I don't think the defence did anything wrong. I don't really think the strikers did anything
wrong.
Well,
you know, maybe not. It was the midfield. We were looking at one point. It was just like the ball just kept going back to Aaron Martin, who just hoofed it every single time. But it's not his job to be the person creating chances for the forwards, is it?
No.
So that's not what should be. It shouldn't be going back to him in those situations. We should be looking to find the midfielders. They should be looking to find the ball and get it into them. Who, you know? So yeah, I think it was in the second half. We managed to get Nicky Law on the ball. We managed to get Randell on the ball. Archie Collins managed to find a bit of space, and you know, and we were all over him. Really, we weren't all over him, but we were very much in the driving seat.
And I think what we were was creating attacking chances.
Yeah.
And every one looked kind of dangerous. So there were times when maybe Williams made the wrong choice, or where Richardson couldn't get it under control, or whatever. But actually, it looked like if this comes off, which it nearly did some of those times and did other times, it looked dangerous.
Yeah, and actually second half, I thought we created more chances than I've seen us do, even in games where we've played really well for the whole game.
Yeah, I think that's
like
true.
There was 3 or 4, wasn't there, that's kind of went just wide or just over the bar. Nicky Law had 2 that went just over, both on his left foot.
Yeah.
Did
Collins have one?
Collins had one where, if you watch the highlights back, he dribbles the ball in the area past 4 Cambridge defenders. 4 of them. I mean, they can't get a touch on the ball, and then I mean, it would have been such a good goal if it went in.
Yeah.
And then, but just over. But we were making a lot.
Yeah.
So when does the first goal come again? How long was that?
I think it was about 15 minutes in, wasn't it?
Okay.
And it was Williams again on the right, wasn't it?
I mean, that is a very good goal. That one.
Lots of solid forward-looking passing, wasn't it?
It's so Nicky Law's capable of that kind of, like intricate kind of play.
Yeah.
He gets on the ball. I think he plays a little 1-2 with Lee Martin.
Yeah.
The ball round the corner from Lee Martin is perfect. Law runs round to collect the ball, and he just it's like he knew he was going there, and it was so nice. And then Bowman's sort of screaming for it in the middle, but Law hesitates a bit. Then Bowman moves, drops off his defender to find a bit of space. Law picks him out,
Yeah.
and he's sort of kind of falling backwards as he kind of readjusts and like taps it in. It's a really good goal.
It was, yeah. And that's exactly what we've not always seen from Bowman in recent times, in that he's really good at going forward. Like, he's really good at being at the absolute forefront of the play. Sometimes his awareness of losing the defender, we haven't always seen it. Like, sometimes he's really good at it, and that was a really good example of him just thinking.
And sometimes that doesn't matter because he can kind of just knock him out the way or something, or just wrap his leg around and find the ball. But that's something that we haven't seen. That kind of play is something you expect more from your the other guy in that partnership, whether that's a Jose or Lee Martin or something like that. That kind of thing. And it's very impressive goal.
So that takes Bowman to 10 for the season, which is
it's really good.
he's moved up quite rapidly. Actually, he was on 6 for a long time, and now he's got up to double figures, which is great. Which makes me think actually it's very likely he'll get 15 plus. I think he said his highest ever is 15.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, he said in his interview he's aiming for over that, looking more towards 20. I mean, that would be magnificent, wouldn't it?
That'd be amazing, if we can get that. And we're up to double figures on the goal difference now.
On the plus goal difference, that's right. Yeah,
so
we
that's
are.
good.
So it all looks great. So then we're 1-0 up. Cambridge really then didn't look in it. They had a couple of chances, didn't they? They hit the post.
They did have a couple of chances, and a couple of them we were let off a little bit. The one where they hit the post is a really good chance, and there's another one where
If he'd squared it back in the same way that kind of
no,
Law
but
did
mate,
Bowman.
but also one where their player squares it to another player. He's got the whole goal to aim for, and he just misses it.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those were absolute let-offs.
They were, but they were kind of their only 2 chances. Well, they didn't have many more, did they? And they certainly didn't have much more of the ball.
No, but it could have been a very different game. There's also they had a fairly decent penalty shout in the first half. Obviously, the ref's performance must have been hindered by whatever niggle he was carrying, because before he went off, he was just appalling, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, for everyone.
I don't know whether he
Terrible
just subbed himself off because he thought, I'm
so.
not up to this.
I think so.
But anyway,
So that was that. But I think what it kind of felt like was we just need to get the second here. So they were really pushing, weren't they?
Yeah.
Really pushing in a way that maybe we haven't seen City do so much recently.
yeah.
And in the end, it came from another nice knockdown from Bowman. So I don't know who crossed it, edge of the box. Someone put it into Bowman with his head. He knocks it down. Their defender makes what the professionals call a pig's ear of it. But Williams was there to put it away.
Yeah. And it did a different type of backflip.
He's got a whole wardrobe of them.
Yeah. What's next?
Goodness knows.
Front flip.
Lord.
This was kind of like a no-handed kind of spinning backflip.
Outrageous. So that takes Williams to 3 for the season. Then, like we said again, we could have had more, but it was a very nice win on a miserable day.
Yeah, valuable one, wasn't it? There's there's a few other things that went on, isn't there? There's the left back situation.
Yeah.
So Jayden Richardson playing left wing back for the first, for most of the game actually, until Moxie came on.
Yep.
Back from injury with about 15 minutes to go.
Good to see Moxie back.
And we sort of switched back to a 4-4-2, once the game was won, really, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I feel like some of the criticism of Richardson's is harsh.
Okay.
Because he's clearly not Well, one, he hasn't played very much. Two, he's young.
Yeah.
Most importantly, he's not a left wing back.
Yeah.
So he's been playing like completely out of position.
Is he a right winger or a right back?
Yeah. Well, I think he's a kind of a right
a
winger,
forward.
but perhaps who knows? But perhaps he's sort of like working on his game as a defensive player, and that's maybe why he's here to do that. But he's definitely not a left-sided player, as we saw in the first half, where he tried to cross it with the outside of his right foot rather than use his left. But but the reason I think it's a bit unfair is because, like I said, he hasn't played very much. He's young. He's not strong, and we've seen this before with players when they like Randall Williams when he arrived. Everyone thought, oh, he's too lightweight to play there.
Yeah.
I mean, look at him now, a season in. Like
I heard someone saying an unnecessary criticism of Richardson. They were going on. They were really going on. But they said, "What we need is Kane Wilson." Right now, Kane Wilson was just the same. Like when he was great by the end.
well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But
Completely ludicrous. And Kyle Edwards the same before him. Like all these players, you're absolutely right. We're getting these really young, inexperienced players who will. Well, if we take Edwards and Wilson as examples, and Williams, by the time they finish with us, they've been worth more than their weight in gold. So the short-sightedness and short-term memory of those kind of criticisms seem ludicrous to me.
Well, yeah. Also, Kane Wilson's also doesn't play on the left and has been injured for most of the season. And anyway, but so that's definitely not the answer. But I mean, look at Jack Sparks. He's the person who's out at the moment, and we're having to replace. And he's not a kind of robust tackling player. He's looked quite good, but he's looked a lot better going forward than he has defending. And yeah, Willie Richardson was exposed a couple of times, and most of their chances did come from when he lost the ball down that left. But he's not a left back, and actually, the results from the games that he's played in that position actually been pretty good. I don't think we've lost, and they're quite clearly targeting him. You could tell from the same in the last game, same in this game. You could tell from straight away all of their attacks were coming down their right hand side. They were thinking, okay, this guy's young. Oh, there's the old alarm.
That's the West Brom trialist alarm. Where is Richardson from?
Yeah, it's West Brom, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
Oh, we should know this really,
But I think you're right. I mean, even in the Forest Green game, we saw that kind of targeting of him. And
it's not Nottingham Forest, of course.
oh yeah, that's right. But he's. I think we just problem A. We've got a lot of injuries at the minute. Good to see Moxie back. Problem B, we don't have loads of resources. Problem C, we could bring in a lone player that maybe fits the bill a bit more than Richardson. But Taylor knows Richardson. He's been there 6 months now. He'll have some idea of what he can and can't do. There have been some players that we brought in on loan last year and under Tisdale, and we just never saw them.
Jayden Brown.
Yeah, like, and what was he? Donovan Wilson. Like it's just. I think actually. He obviously knows. I'm sure he would like to bring in a experienced.
Well, we are bringing somebody in.
That's what he's saying, right?
He's basically said there's going to be like a couple of pretty much going to be announced this week.
Okay, so we'll wait and see. But you don't want to just rush, do you? Then, and
No.
our money's completely limited.
And the other thing is, we know, like, as much as we've been, Taylor's been really open, and it doesn't you have to do much research to realise, oh, they haven't got a left back. Their left hand side is a young lone player playing on his wrong foot. Let's attack down that side.
Yeah.
So he is going to be.
Yeah, it's not Bielsa's 20 notebooks, is it?
Yeah. So exactly. So yeah, he is. He was exposed, but he was targeted. So anyway, and I think actually did a pretty decent job.
Yeah,
he's
I thought he
actually
looked good going forward. Yeah.
And it isn't. This is it's quite clearly not the solution.
No.
But no one's saying that. No one's offering it up as one. It's
No.
just it's quite clearly what we're doing in the meantime, while the other Woody is injured and Sparks is injured, and we haven't got anyone else in yet.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
leave off the lad.
In terms of young players, we also saw we saw a debutante. Is that how you say it? Debutante.
Debutant. Yes. Well, two debutant league
Yeah.
debutants.
Yes.
You might call it the debutante's ball.
You might. Cresceni came on the day before his 16th birthday,
Yep.
which is
He came on
remarkable.
second of the two, actually, didn't he?
Also, he's massive.
Joel Randall came on first.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
With sort of 10 minutes or so.
and looked
to go.
good.
Yeah. He kind of showed what he's. We've seen
Seen
what
bits
he's
of that,
capable of, haven't we? And He had a great little run and a chance, didn't he,
Yeah.
on down that left-hand side. And Matt Taylor said in an interview that he thinks he's pretty much ready now,
Right.
for the first team. And,
So he's not gone back on loan. He's with us now, right? Is that right?
I think he'd been at Weymouth, and Taylor, again, sort of criticised Weymouth for basically not playing him.
Oh, right.
And they were saying, I don't know what they were seeing in him, but he's a brilliant player. And,
Right, okay.
But, horses for courses, whatever they say.
That is what they say,
Yeah.
yeah. So Randall and then Chris Ennie, day before his 16th.
Yeah.
Can you
He
imagine?
came on. I don't think he got touched, did he?
You know he did. Well, he went in for a challenge,
He
didn't
went
he?
in for a challenge, yeah.
I mean, he only had about 2 minutes.
Now, that was interesting. That's an interesting
Well, there's something going on
situation.
there, isn't
Yeah. Because did you see Matt Taylor's interview? I keep referring to this interview, but it did reveal quite a lot.
there? Tell us about it.
So he basically said that he'd been very frustrated that Chris Ennie had been off on trial at all these different places. Like we've said, we know that he's been at Liverpool and at
Bayern
Chelsea and at Bayern Munich.
Villa, I think.
And of course, he has to do all this sort of stuff in his school holidays because he's at school. So he can't just go whenever and work around that. And so Taylor was saying basically we haven't had a chance to have him train with the first team to see whether or not he's ready to play. And over Christmas,
Because Mr. Cadwallader wants his geography homework in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, more the fact that he'd been away every time he's got.
I see.
He's been away. So we had it with Ampadu, didn't he? He'd play around
Yeah.
when the school holidays were. But every time that's been happening, he's been off somewhere else. So over Christmas, he'd had a chance. He'd not been anywhere. He trained with the first team, and then that's what
Here
led
he
to
is.
him going to the first team. Now, why that's happening is up for debate.
Why? What's happening?
Why he's playing? Why is he? Is he just genuinely? He's that good, and he's like a player that's going to be useful for us this season, getting promoted.
Yeah. Or
Or is it to
notch up the...
try and convince him to stick around to sign a professional contract and think, okay, I could do this for a couple of years and then move?
Watkins style.
Yeah? Or is it to, in some way, I don't know how these things work, but in some way affect the tribunal fee that inevitably he ends up leaving for?
Yeah. So essentially his options are, because the rules are you can't sign a professional contract until you're 16.
Yeah.
And then once you become 16, you can choose. And your academy has no bearing on that, although you may choose to do that. So he may do the Ampadu style. Like, we know he's still in school, so he has to be in Exeter,
Well, no, he doesn't.
the place for his school, I mean.
Why?
Because school.
You can go to school anywhere.
You can, but I mean, he's on his last 4 months, isn't he?
Yeah, well, presumably, even if he could sign if he did sign a contract with another club,
Yeah.
he doesn't need to move until the summer.
No.
What would be the point?
True.
But he could move schools if Chelsea could go like, "Yeah, we want you to come now," and
It's the alarm again. This is what you get when you're a professional operation like us. You get fire alarms going off.
they've not even consulted us over this fire alarm business, have
They
they?
haven't.
Okay, there we go. If they were then like, "Yeah, Chelsea, we're gonna sign you. You want to go straight into the first team now? We need you to play on Saturday." I'm sure he'd move schools. for
Fair
it.
enough. That's probably true. That's not going to happen. So what I'm saying is, probably realistically, there's 4 months left of the Football League season, and he's got to be in... He doesn't have to be. It's much easier for him if he stays in Exeter to take his exams, which will be in June and July. So therefore, we've kind of got 4 months of him.
Yeah.
Let's assume. Now, there's obviously the school holiday factor, but now he's started training. Maybe they're happy for him to do this kind of dropping in and out of the first team and
Well,
training.
maybe, but presumably if he's coming up to his GCSEs and he's going to have to be like, this is probably his busiest time, isn't it?
I mean,
We can have him in a February half term.
well, I don't know how much training he'd need to do. Like, what?
And
I mean,
Easter.
what are they convinced?
Well, Taylor obviously doesn't want to play him if he's not been playing with the first team squad.
Yeah.
That's basically what he said.
which I get, but I mean, do they train mornings? Could he do 3 mornings of February half term? Like, these are weird questions that we don't know the answer to, because on one hand you say, like, teachers are saying revise. On the other hand, he's going to be a professional footballer, which will,
Yeah. To be honest, I can't help thinking that this whole thing is kind of a moot point because he's not going to sign a contract with Exeter City. He's definitely going to sign a contract with a bigger club, and we'll get a little bit of sort of pocket money in return. It's just what happens.
Well, I'd imagine so,
If
yeah.
if he's good enough to in the last year have been on trial with
Liverpool and Bayern
Liverpool,
Munich.
Bayern Munich, and Chelsea, and whoever else, Southampton or whoever, then then he's not going to choose to then that means he's got an option. Doesn't it? Even if it was one level down from that, it's still 2 levels above
Yeah.
the option of signing for Exeter City. So I just don't. And presumably he's got an agent. Presumably the agent is going to be pushing for like something that's going to make him and his family and the agent money. And again, Exeter City's not that. Not
Yeah,
that club.
I don't know. I just there's a few options, aren't there? Like we've seen kind of 3 examples in the last 2 years of 3 things that academy players can do. You can do the Watkins, and you stick with your club. Now Watkins was not at this level when he was 16, so maybe that's not the case. But you could do a Watkins and do a year or 2 years in the League Two, and then go on to a very solid move at a very solid Championship club. And then I think we'll see Watkins, won't we, go to the Premier League probably in the next 2 years. And
Yeah.
he may
well,
go
either with Brentford or someone will buy him if they don't go up.
or maybe both go up, and then you could
Yeah.
see him maybe going to a really big club. You do the Ampadu thing, where he stayed with City while he was 16, but then very quickly moved on. But he did. We essentially had him for.
But he never signed a contract.
No, he never signed a contract. But
But that's exactly the same as the Cristiani situation.
okay,
Identical.
well, it's not only in that their ages are slightly different, I suppose.
Are they?
Well,
The seasons obviously come at slightly different times, but
yeah,
Ampadu was slightly older when he made his club debut,
yes,
and played 11 games and then left.
that's right. Yeah. So, but
So-
he never signed a contract. You're
But
right.
so that conceivably, I mean,
He might get 10. He might get 5 games in between now and the end of the season.
Yeah.
Christiani. But Ampadu's the extra factor I'm talking about with Ampadu is the dad. Okay, Kwame
yeah,
obviously got very good links with professional football clubs around the world. He wouldn't have gone into the Chelsea decision blind. What I mean by that, like, I don't know who Ben Crescenti's parents are, but I imagine it's unlikely they're as experienced in the world of academy football as Kwame Ampadu is.
yeah, sure.
So it could be that he's advised or thinks to himself, well, I know Exeter, I see the Watkins route, I might stick with it. But of course, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure the Bayern Munich option is much more attractive on every level.
Yeah.
It's just...
I'll say what else is attractive. Money. Lots of money is attractive.
Of course it is.
And you kind of think, I'm not criticizing him either if he took it. I'm you know, like, who would turn that down? You know, if it's like that much money,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, well, I could break my leg tomorrow, and then it's over,
Yeah.
and I never get that money, and I have to go and, you know, hopefully I do well on my GCSEs because I'm going to need them.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
the, it's
you
the
ca-
Andy Taylor factor, isn't
And
it?
that's what agents will be saying to young players.
Yeah, because you're right.
You know,
There's
this might not come again. This is your opportunity. You've got to take it now.
the Andy Taylor factor is he went to Manchester United and got injured before he signed professional papers, didn't he?
Right.
So, and came out to City and, you know,
Yeah.
had a career, but was never stratospheric. Okay, so that's Crescenti. And that was, I think, the main points about Saturday. I mean, I'd just love to see him. It's just the romantic in me, you know. You just want to get a season out of him, don't you, where he's firing it all.
Well, you hear a lot of hype about a youngster who's, you know, attracting attention from these huge clubs and stuff, and you just think, like, yeah, I want to see him play. And obviously, you want Exeter City to do well. So the idea of having like some like young kind of wonder kid is great, but you want to see it. You know what I mean? Whereas like Ampadu, I kind of thought, oh yeah, that was good. You know, got to see like pretty much all the games he played. It was great. Inevitably, he left. But, you know, at least you got to see a bit of it. I would like to, with Watkins, it's, like you said, it's a bit different because he did
He was
progress.
slower start, wasn't
Yeah, but we got to had some great moments from him, and you know, that brilliant season, the goal against Argyle, and you've got something to really remember a player by. You know, whereas you think if Crescenti leaves tomorrow and goes on to be, and the same with Jay Stansfield, if he
Yeah.
goes on to be a top class striker, we can say, yeah, he's from our academy. And his dad played for us and stuff. It's like, yeah, but we never even saw him play.
No.
You know, he never played for City.
No,
Might
no.
play- He played for, you know, youth teams and stuff, and he's in our academy, and that's credit to the academy. But we didn't get anything out of him as supporters.
No.
We didn't get to see him play or and to help us sort of achieve anything.
And you know what the ultimate kicker is? Of course, the money. There's just no money.
Well, that's the other thing, yeah.
And you don't want to be mercenary about it, but it costs money to run an academy.
Yeah, and they've put work into, and it's talent, isn't it? But it's also it's the way they're coached, and how that talent's kind of nurtured, and that's got to go. The credit has to go to the Exeter City Academy for that. Some of it, So I mean, we've said this before. I mean, I feel like in a way we're kind of repeating ourselves here, and there is no answer for it. Taggy's obviously annoyed, isn't he? And he's trying to sort of like help move things along. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll change, but I can't see it, can you?
You can't currently see it, no, because the ones who are in power get all the perks.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So City then travel to Blundell Park, home of Grimsby Town.
Yep.
Grimsby just got a little bit more grim with the arrival, of course, of Ian Holloway as their manager, or as his grandchildren call him, Grandpa.
Nana and Grandpa time.
Got to have some Nana and Grandpa time. It's working so far for the footballing version of Young's Fish.
Yep.
You know that Grimsby Town was only started as a kind of publicity stunt and propaganda technique for Young's Fish.
Really?
Well, I'd imagine so.
I would say they're not even the number one sort of supermarket frozen fish option.
No. Birdseye United, of course, became Brighton and Hove Albion.
It's Captain Birdseye, isn't it? All day long.
Absolutely, Captain Birdseye. No one's
Have
talking
you
about Ashley
seen
Young, are
the
they?
new Birdseye advert
I don't think so.
featuring Captain Birdseye?
No, is he a young and hunky Captain
No,
Birdseye?
well, he's seriously hunky. He's not young, but they have made him very cool.
So
he's
is
kind of a really cool old kind of grandpa, but Captain Birdseye.
still
he's
got the
like
white beard?
He's got like the white beard, but he's like,
He's had it done in a barber shop.
absolute sort of like
Okay.
sort of silver fox.
Is
like,
he?
It's yeah.
Because it used to be all like, oh, he's made on it.
It just used to be a kind of big fat kind of like
Yeah.
jolly fisherman bloke.
And
who-
then- but
but
then
you would
it
never
became-
think like, oh, he's cool, would you?
No,
You know.
no. Then it became like some like sun-drenched Lothario, didn't it? Do you remember that phase?
Oh,
Like
rings a
the
bell.
early Birdseye years kind
Right.
of thing. Like when they made young James Bond. It was
Oh,
like that.
okay. Well, they've made it. They've compromised basically.
Okay.
Yeah, he looks like.
Good on him. It's
yeah.
working because I'd never buy a Young's. I'd never buy some Young's fish fingers. I'd always buy Birdseye.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm a vegetarian, so it's a moot point. Anyway, Grimsby Town, unbeaten in 5. Holloway's got some credit to take for that.
Yeah, some 1-0s and some 1-alls. Is that
Some
right?
1-0s and some 1-alls, which is, improving their cause. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard. Like we said, it's pretty hard to get relegated from this league this season. So Grimsby are
Oh, it's impossible.
basically impossible.
You've
Macclesfield
got
have
to
been-
be so shit.
Macclesfield have been
relegated.
deducted 6, and they're still 2 off the bottom. So
It's mental.
it's remarkable. Holloway comes in. This is his 8th club, his 9th managerial spell because he went to QPR twice.
Okay.
So, I mean, he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? But he kind of doesn't need to know what he's doing. I'd suggest that we could go and manage Grimsby, and probably it would pick up.
Well, I think it would be. I think we could keep him up.
That we could keep him up. The
Me and
Grims-
you could do it in a kind of like Cowley brothers kind of style, even though we're not, blood relatives.
And then-
we could, and I reckon we could do it.
I think we
With
could.
my football manager experience and your kind of boundless enthusiasm.
We'd do it. We'd do it. Don't worry about it, Grimsby. We'd call them the Juventus of the Northeast on account
Yeah,
of the
see,
black and
we've
white.
got that. We've got these kind of like branding ideas, which are like
No problem.
You know.
We'd get rid of Young's and we'd get them sponsored by someone.
Birdseye.
We'd get Birdseye in straight away. No problem.
No brainer.
Absolutely no brainer. We'd sign a player with a big white beard.
Yeah.
We'd be laughing. What about getting Jordan Ayew? Captain Ayew? Captain Birds Ayew? I don't know. We'd work on it.
Oh, okay, I see what you're doing. It took me a while. Yeah.
It's not my best.
Yeah.
But, that's just off the cuff, Grimsby. We are available. Also for podcasts. We're really pushing. The transfer window's closing. We're looking for a big
I don't know
money
if
move.
anyone at Grimsby's doing a Grimsby Town podcast.
Is
If
there
you
not
are,
one?
I don't know. If you are, good luck to you.
There's a guy that always comes on
welcome-
XWeb who's
brothers.
a Grimsby fan, isn't there? Les.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, there's like the odd... I like this about lower league football forums. There's the odd person who initially gets involved as in like having a bit of a chat. I'm coming down, where do I stay, whatever. And then it turned into like an old mate, So Les GTFC, he's always on XWeb. I've never spoken to him, but I always enjoy seeing him. And everyone's like, "Oh, hello, Les."
I worry for these people.
No, it's all right. They'll say things like, "We're not friends for the next 12 hours," but then, you know.
Okay. Oh, cheers, Les.
Cheers, Les.
Thanks for the support.
For the support. That's Grimsby. There's kind of not much to say about him. They've got one of the Hanson brothers up front, the fourth Hanson brother, presumably. He hasn't got long curling locks, but it is James Hanson. He's their best goal scorer. He scored 5. I mean, they've had a bad season, like no two ways about it. They got that well-known midfielder, Hesson Tyler. Remember him at Gillingham?
No, I don't remember him.
He's
but
long-standing at Gillingham. Like, won the league with them
Okay.
a few times. Like, good standing midfielder. He's getting older. He's there.
yeah. How would Ian Holloway say that name?
Hatton Tyler. He's remarkable, Holloway, for the pronunciations.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's a long way to go.
Yeah.
They're in decent form. We're in excellent form.
They'll be more worried than we are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they'll be absolutely bricking it. at the
Holloway's
thought
got
of
some
us.
stories, hasn't he? I'm sure he'll have some Exeter City stories to inspire them, but, you know, he's out of touch, really. You can't have that kind of magic touch forever. And I don't, whether he ever had a magic touch, he's pushing it. But,
He's
Blackpool, he did well,
he's a
didn't he?
decent manager, isn't he? But, and like you said, he'll keep him up. They beat us at St James's Park, though, didn't they, this season?
Right, yeah. So there's always these unknowns, aren't there?
So, exactly, of course.
What
We
I've
should beat them, but you never know. And,
What I've got in my mind is the old Tisdale days of we'd have an enormously brilliant run, and then that would be yinged out or yanged out by the fallout. You know, then the awful run that came afterwards. I can't. The new song at St James Park, Reds are going up. Don't you mess it up. To paraphrase.
No, that's not it, is it?
Yeah,
It's Pump It Up, isn't it?
yeah, that's the song.
We'll pump it up. The Reds are going up.
Don't you mess it up. Reds are going up. That's it, isn't it?
I don't think it is. I think it's just I don't know, whatever.
Anyway,
Let us know.
let us know, listeners. If that is the case, that's my mindset.
I feel like chants are usually that don't really like they're not that kind of foreboding. Like
Well, that's what I meant. I felt a bit like, oh, are we going to
Don't.
mess this up?
yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
But that's my mindset. I feel like we will mess this up.
I know. Oh, it's mine too. I was thinking just after the game yesterday, on Saturday. I mean, had a really good feeling afterwards. I was like, oh, that's great. You know, we didn't play particularly well. It wasn't a good game, but in the end we've comfortably won it. And yeah, like there was a couple of let-offs, but 2-0, and it's a good result. But then I started to get the thing of like, it can't last forever.
No, it can't.
I was like, this is too good at the moment. And if you're like, let's say Swindon, where you're like free scoring, I know they've just lost their main striker, but you're like free scoring, top of the league all season, you can sort of then maybe you can perhaps it's a little bit more. Oh, we can relax into this a bit. But for us, it's kind of like, yeah, like winning without playing well, grinding out results, winning 1-0, not scoring very much, the odd kind of like weird kind of like quite a lot of red cards this season.
Yeah.
I still feel a little bit kind of nervy about it all.
It's a different era, isn't it? We're in the Taylor era, which is obviously, this is his model, grind it out, defend first, score second, and it's different for us. So I'm very nervy. I think Swindon is different because, of course, they're in their minds, they should be a championship team, I guess, and they're not.
Yeah,
And so
well,
they're like,
they were a Premier League team when
they were indeed. But I think they'll
across
just be like, yeah, this is right, this is the way it should be. I don't know what the way it should be is for City. It feels like the way it should be is narrowly missing the playoffs or mid-table mediocrity. So that's my mindset, really, I suppose. But it's going well so far. I don't think anyone's going to get sold. Doesn't feel like it, does it?
No, and Matt Taylor said there's been no inquiries so far. It doesn't look like it, does it? And that'll be good because, I like the squad.
A Jose will feel like a new signing.
Yeah, I like the squad. I like the amount of cover we've got in there. We've got a couple of injuries, and we obviously 2 in one position.
Yeah.
But looks like Moxie's back now, so
Yeah.
and he's not ideal getting up and down that left side. Now he's advancing in years.
Yeah.
I say this reluctantly, as Dean Moxie is actually the year below me at school. So, but I'm not trying to be a winger.
All right, fair enough.
So, yeah, there's that. And then Like we said, we're going to add a couple new people, possibly. Looks like definitely at least one. And then you've got Lee Holmes,
Yeah,
who's looking like he's back to,
yeah.
fitness. That'd be like a new signing.
Atangana
In
will
a
be
way.
back. 2 more games for Atangana to miss.
exactly.
So
Jake Taylor's, that's been really good for Taylor, I think, having Atangana come in and, real competition for places.
Yeah.
So Taylor's been excellent in the last 2 games
Yeah.
I've seen him play. Well, I say excellent. He was good on Saturday, and
Okay.
very good against Ipswich.
Well, I mean, I don't want to wish it to end, so long may it continue.
Oh yeah,
I'm
totally.
just kind of in a constant state of tenseness.
Yeah, totally. Me too. And it makes listen. I mean, I always find it tense. The most tense is watching
Yeah.
City on that iFollow thing. I can't handle it watching them on TV for some reason. I find it so stressful.
I guess I'm not used to it as well.
Much more stressful than going to watch them live.
Interesting.
Number 2 is the radio.
Okay.
I find that less stressful than watching it on a screen, but still find it tense, like very tense.
We've got a couple of commentators at the minute who don't help my cause by, in moments of attack or defence, they kind of resort to this kind of like, and you're like, oh, what's happened? And then they kind of pause and say, like, oh my goodness me, and over, City have scored, or clear off the line, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna need more firm facts from you before you make the noises. But there we are, whatever. Well, we'll see. So Grimsby away, Colchester at home, Port Vale away, and then a big one, Swindon away. In the meantime, we've also got the quarterfinal of the leasing.com, which is Stevenage at home.
Yeah,
That's next Tuesday.
As in not tomorrow, the week after?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
So, interesting. I mean, that's just an interesting sideshow, really. No one seems to be getting worried about it or excited about it or anything. It's just like bringing in the money,
yeah.
using some younger players, so
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, well, and we've got, at the moment, you think, okay, well, when we can see in that game, Atangana will play that because he's allowed to play in that game,
Yeah.
which is good because it keeps him kind of playing games. Like I said, Lee Holmes is coming back, so I expect maybe he might feature.
Yeah.
You've got these youngsters who are need first team football, so we'll probably see Randall again,
Yeah.
which is only going to help. So I mean, I'm coming round to the leasing.com trophy in a way.
Yes.
But I think maybe that's because we're completely out of the FA Cup and the League Cup.
Yeah, if there were all these extra factors.
If we weren't, you'd be cursing,
You would.
the website.
I'm cursing it. Okay, so that's kind of
Sending
where
it
we
a
are.
virus on purpose.
I'd pretend I was going to lease loads of cars. I just go down there and try out every car. Can I sit in this one now? Or what about the passenger seat? What about this car? What's the radio like? I'd really waste their time.
Yeah. Yeah,
That'll
cool.
show them.
That will show them.
Well, there we go. Thanks for listening. Remember, you can always get in touch with us in the normal ways on Twitter at Big Bank Pod, on Facebook we're the Big Bang Theory Podcast, and via email we're bigbankpod@gmail.com. You can continue to tell us about your Aidan McGeady sightings around Exeter. I just saw him in Carluccio's having a gluten-free panini.
Yep. I saw him in I can't remember what it's called. I was going to say that little sandwich shop that's sort of in that little alley by Boots.
Oh, I don't know. We used to call it John Peel's sandwich shop because the guy worked there looked like John Peel.
Yeah, okay, we saw him in there. One more thing before we go.
Yeah.
Flybe.
Oh.
Seen this?
No.
So in the last kind of 12 hours or so, they basically, it's looking like they're about to go out of business.
Oh, I thought they'd been bought.
Administrators are on,
Oh.
on hold. No, is that the word? Anyway, they're ready.
Okay.
They're going in. So I'm not sure what that means for us.
What, the podcast? We'll just carry on like
Well,
normal.
no, we'll be all right. But what does that mean for Exeter City and its sponsorship? Now, I looked into this quickly. What happens? Because obviously that's happened to a few football teams where their shirt sponsor has gone out of business.
Yeah.
It disappears overnight.
Does
it happened to West Ham on a couple of occasions. Once they covered over the sponsor.
Right.
I can't remember which one this was. I think it was something called XL or all these things. This nowadays is just something you've never heard of.
Yeah.
And all the advertising just removed from the ground overnight.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, it's been a while coming at it for Flyby, and I feel like, how many more of these kind of things can they survive before they're gone?
Yeah.
And then suddenly are we just down our main sponsor?
I suppose if it happens now, presumably they've paid for the season.
Yeah, but if the business no longer exists,
Yeah.
then you don't continue to advertise it, do you?
No, you don't. That would stop. But presumably, if they've paid us their money for sponsorship for this season, then at least gives us a bit of time before August.
What do you think the chances are that they've paid us for this season?
I don't know.
I'd say probably pretty low on their priority list.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, whatever they're paying or not paying, we're managing. They've either paid it and we're managing, or they've not paid it and we're managing.
Yeah, although that the way things like this work, budgets and whatnot,
Yeah,
it maybe would
factored
be
in.
factored in, and we actually that's money that we think we, even though we haven't actually got it, we count it as money that we do
I
have.
believe you call it a cash flow problem, don't you?
A cash flow problem.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. But
Okay. Should we offer a very good?
get in there with a low ball offer.
Yeah. See if we can get the Big Bang Theory on just one shirt for the season. We'll give you, this amount to have our name on the Swindon shirt.
Well, just for one game,
Well, I think someone would come in soon afterwards with a higher offer. But if we could be like,
maybe
£100 now, Taggy,
cash.
cash in hand, no questions asked. We'll draw them on the shirts ourselves.
Yeah,
Is it worth an avenue worth pursuing?
don't think so.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? I wonder who would sponsor us after.
Alpro soya milk.
Maybe. Not if that woman in the catering's got anything to do with it.
Disgusted.
She was raging. I'd also think that I'd like to explore the Met Office sponsoring us.
That'd be cool, sort of. I just don't want Creeley. Sorry, Creeley. Thanks for all the support.
Yeah.
But I just don't want.
We don't want to be mocked.
I just don't want a fun park
Too many jokes
on the shirt, and also Creeley's logo is all. I mean, it's a good logo. It appeals to kids, but it doesn't. That doesn't make for a good shirt sponsor.
It's a bit like, do you remember when Sheffield Wednesday was sponsored by Mr. Tom's, the chewy nut bar that never caught on?
Oh yeah,
We don't want that.
yeah. You don't want that, do you?
No. What else?
And like
what about Rodder's
Everton
Dairy?
have got angry birds, haven't they, on their
Yeah,
sleeves?
Arsenal is the worst. Visit Rwanda for a home of war crimes and dodgy politics,
Yeah, but there's still nice bits of Rwanda.
I'm sure there are. I just don't think the money's coming from the nice bits or
Probably
the good
not.
people.
Probably not.
I mean, it's all...
Who else could we have? Oh, I don't know.
Who else could we have? Exeter Cathedral? The Underground Passages?
That'd be
There's too
good.
many jokes on that, I think.
Oh yeah, maybe. McGay's? No, that's gone.
You don't want a pasty company. That's too close to home for them down the road.
No chance.
Donkey Sanctuary?
No, again, you're
Really
asking for
joke.
trouble.
I don't know. I mean, we're not full of...
Probably be some. Yeah, who knows? Who knows what will be or what will even happen with that? But that is.
Cathedral City, for those who know their cheddar.
Yep. But I don't think that's talking about Exeter Cathedral, is it?
No, but they make it up North Devon, don't they?
Is that right?
I think so.
Whatever. Anyway, that looks like it might be a possibility, so we'll see what happens with that.
Okay. If anyone's got any rumours of, magnates of like large company walking round town, I mean, you know the main one who's clearly a scumbag.
Who?
I probably can't say that on a recorded thing. Someone who's got dodgy opinions. Oh, Weatherspoon. He lives in Exeter.
Yeah, but he's not a football man, is he?
Not a football man. He's a rugby man.
He's
if ever I
a
saw him.
rugger bugger if ever I see
Yeah,
one.
absolutely is. I probably should have said that on a
Look at him.
recorded
Oh,
episode. but
whatever. Who cares?
He's not listening.
His massive face of all his features just squashed into the middle of it.
Okay. We'll see who sponsors us. I don't think it's going to be him.
No.
Coldplay.
Chris?
Get on the phone, Chris. He's probably friends with Taggy.
Maybe.
I'd like to see an electronic football shirt that changed throughout the game.
That won't be long before that comes in, will it?
It won't indeed. Okay.
All right, enough of this.
Enough of this gibbering. Thanks for listening, even through that bit. If you've made it to this bit, well done. Extra marks. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you next week.